off season kind of dwindling to close and like another season getting underway. Did you at least get a chance to during the off season just kind of decompress away from football, get some time with the family, and kind of recharge?
Absolutely. We were just on spring breaking, so I took my older two to Hawaii. We went back home and had a blast. And my wife had to work with the other two, so she stayed, and she's pretty jealous about that. But for decompression, and now we're ready to pretty much get back to football. You miss that part of it, and so spring ball is coming up, and we're excited for the next 15 practices.
Looking back at last year, though, weird year, obviously. So many things that was kind of thrown at you, the injuries and all the creative things that had to go on. What did you learn from just going through kind of a year so full of just obstacles, hurdles, challenges, but some opportunities as well?
I think for a staff, a new staff coming together and fighting through all of those adversities and working together, I think that strengthens our staff. I think Coach Dillingham did a great job keeping everything together, making sure that we fight through the adversity at the same time, knowing that this is a rebuilding process for us. So we learn how to work through the adversity. I think that we have a bunch of guys that we feel that are going to be leaders coming up through this, and I thought that our recruiting class in the portal proved to be pretty beneficial for us, because I think we're going to be a lot better team than we were last year. And not when I say better, that is more of the camaraderie with the team, the gel of the team, but also from an athletic standpoint too.
How do you feel like you're a different and better coach now than having gone through those experiences and challenges with mostly a new staff and everything that was kind of thrown at this program?
You learn about your staff. You learn what the strengths and weaknesses, like what every head coach was, and you try to work together as a team, trying to build that cohesiveness. And I thought that Coach Dillingham did a great job working with us together, and I think the staff has got close. We understand each other. We work together on the recruiting process and trying to make Arizona State the best that they can be. And I thought from a learning perspective, I thought we made huge gains in that department.
Scat did just about everything last year, obviously. What did you kind of jumped out most to you about what you saw from him, and just not just obviously the running and receiving that we saw and expected, but just everything else that was asked of him as the year kind of went the way it did?
Because he's a competitor and he wants to win. And sometimes he got frustrated a little bit, but that's the learning process. How you want to play with passion, and you want to limit your emotion, and so that's things that we're going to work on with him. But I thought he did a great job. That room now is going to be very, very competitive with everybody in that room, and so we're going to see how that plays out over spring ball and then into the fall. But I still think that they work well together, and I'm excited for that room to show what it can do.
Of course, reuniting with DeCarlos, and when he was in there, seemed to be a real difference maker. Unfortunately, just was bad on that injury bug.
Yeah.
Seems healthy and ready to go this year. What is that kind of like 1-2 punch of Scat and DeCarlos going to bring to this offense?
I think I fear for the defensive backs because they're physical running backs, and they don't go down real easy, and so they complement each other well. I think with Sip and Raleigh coming in as well, I think they bring a different dimension because of their speed and perimeter ability. I think George Hart brings that steadiness to us, and then I'm excited about the new freshman that's coming in, Jason Brown, because he brings his expertise in the running game, and I think that it's going to be a competitive room, and that just makes us better.
You mentioned Raleigh, obviously a guy that's you has some familiarity playing against him, but just the explosiveness and the versatility. What is he going to bring, kind of maybe as a change of pace, with the power and physicality of Scat and DeCarlos versus somebody who can break off big gains like that?
Yeah, and I think you said it right. It's the change of pace. It's the quickness, the perimeter threat, the receiving threat. I think that's what he brings, just because he's a different back. He's a running back. He's a different back from those two power. Very similar to Sip in the perimeter, and so I'm excited. I'm trying to push Coach Arroyo to put two guys on the field at the same time, because I think from a selfish standpoint, I think our room is filled with athletes that can get the job done, and so I'm just excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, speaking of Coach Arroyo, obviously, with his offense, coming in with Kenny and your knowledge as well, what is that the offense going to look like differently from last year to this year in terms of what it asks of its running backs?
I think when we look at Coach Arroyo's running backs, I think his offense goes through those running backs because they're so much involved with the pass game and the run game, of course, and we want to be dominating the run game. in the play action game and all of that stuff. So I think that our backs are excited because they play a huge part in not only the running game but the passing game, and I feel that it will keep a lot of defenses unbalanced just because of that.
And so, if you were to put together a top to-do list for what you want your running backs to do and accomplish over the 15 practices of spring, what's on the top of that list?
Absolutely, it's paying attention to the details, making sure we do the things right all the time. From a professionalism standpoint, I know that they've done a good job, but how professional and how focused can we be at every single practice? And that's huge for us. I'm not worried about the athleticism part. That'll come, and they've worked real hard about it. Now it becomes how do I become graduate level running backs? How well do I understand the defense? How well do I understand what is needing to be done? How well do I understand everybody else's jobs on the field? And just graduate level stuff, but most of all, the attention to detail.